Well, this week I want to catch up on some stuff. The first one is that Billy chastised me because last week I neglected to have any discussion whatsoever about the bombing of Hiroshima with the atomic bomb. And I regret that. It happened on August 6, 1945, and it was designed to convince the Japanese to surrender so that we wouldn't have to incur something like 1 million casualties invading the Japanese islands. The thing that's interesting about the bombing of Hiroshima is that it didn't work. We had to drop another one a few days later, August 9th, on Nagasaki, and even at that, it took until August 15th for the Japanese to surrender. It's truly amazing, and anybody who criticizes this, they really don't know what they're talking about. Now, Billy also suggested that I do some recognition of the death of Pete Hamill last week. He was 85 years old, and Billy and I have a sort of a deep connection to Pete Hamill. Pete Hamill used to hang out in a bar called the Lion's Head down in Greenwich Village. Billy and I, more or less consecutively, occupied an apartment on 6th Avenue at the end of Christopher Street, and the Lion's Head was down Christopher Street opposite Sheridan Square. And it was a big hangout for writers. Pete Hamill, Norman Mailer, Jimmy Breslin, they were in there all the time, plus a bunch of other guys. And of course, most notably, the bartender was Joel Oppenheimer, the living poet, also better known as the poet laureate of the Mets. And by the way, the Lion's Head was a Mets bar. Now, independently of Billy and the Lion's Head, I have another connection with Pete Hamill. And I discovered this when I read his book, Drinking Life. He grew up on 11th Street in Brooklyn. He grew up on 7th Avenue between 11th and 12th Street in Park Slope in Brooklyn, Holy Name Parish. When I was a little boy, we lived on 12th Street between 6th and 7th, so right around the corner from Pete Hamill. And I was impressed when I read that in that biography he wrote. So anyway, Pete passed away in last week. 85 years old, and the Lion's Head, unfortunately, passed away in 1996. And it's some other kind of restaurant or something now. And I'll tell you, what a great bar that was. Well, right now I'm driving up to the gas station up on Tremont Avenue. Going to fill the tank on the Florida car, and the reason for that is that tomorrow morning, Karen, the weather girl, and I are going to start out very early in the morning and drive back to Florida. Now, you're saying, oh, wait a minute, it's only the first half of August. What are you going back to Florida for? Well, the reality is that New York is a whole lot less pleasant than Florida during this pandemic. We've seen all the kids a few times while we've been up here. And they're all going to be starting at school in a couple of weeks, whatever that's going to look like. So I'm not going to have that many opportunities to see them. And when you combine that with all the unpleasantness in New York, it really sort of makes sense to get out of town. I mean, the Legion is open, so we go over there, but you're not seeing anybody. I mean, hardly anybody is showing up in the place. The parks, and you know that I enjoy the parks, Pelham Bay Park, Veterans Park, Ferry Point Park. They are an absolute wreck. For whatever reason, the city of New York has decided that during the pandemic they're not going to clean them, so they're loaded with garbage. They're not mowing the lawn. They're a disgrace. It is just absolutely awful. And I don't know. I mean, in Florida, we can go out to eat if we want. We can do things. I mean, they got pandemic restrictions, but it's nothing like what you're seeing here in the Bronx. So anyway, the upshot of it is we're going back to Florida early. Not that we don't like the Bronx, because we do. We have a great time here, but not this year. So anyway, we're gonna go back there. We're leaving tomorrow. Probably get there Sunday, and that's my report for this week. It's a little, I know it's a little sketchy, but we'll see if we can't do better coming to you from Florida. So anyway, everybody have a really nice weekend. Take care. See you right on this YouTube channel next week. Bye now. Take care.